And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Well, we are coming to you from places far away, and we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to try to put a show together here because the Weighing In podcast is back with a lot to talk about. We had Bellator 277. We had Vicente Luque versus Belal Muhammad with the UFC. All kinds of news and everyone attacking everyone. This is what the world's about. Josh Thompson, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Look, we had some great fights over the weekend. And a lot of drama to go along with a lot of other stuff as well. But I mean, you know, I'm gonna try to right the ship on this show to a lot of people. But I think, you know, specifically to one, just to kind of put the feelers out there and I think settle some minds and settle some issues. And hopefully it makes it a better place. Like we always talk about at the end of the show is, you know, try and make the world a better place. And I think that's kind of where we're going to be at today. I have so many things on my mind. It's been a long couple days, and we've got a long couple weeks coming up.
Yeah.
You're in LA, you left San Jose, you're in LA, and then you go straight from LA to Hawaii because we have 2 shows there. I'm going to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii, we come home for like 4 or 5 days, and then we go to Paris and London for Bellator over there. There is a lot going on, and then we don't come home. From that trip, we got to stay there for the 2 weeks because it just doesn't make any sense to come home for a day and a half, 2 days. By the time you actually land, you're only home for like probably about 28 hours. Yeah, hard pass.
Not good. Not good at all.
All right, well, hey, let's jump right into Bellator. We will talk about the AJ and Patricio fight first. I mean, I have a lot to say.
Let's go. Hear it then.
I have a lot to say. AJ is still the talent that we all believe that he is. It's just a matter, I really believe, is that I don't know what he was doing. John, I don't know what he was doing. And so for everyone they likes to give me a hard time, I'm a homer for Bellator. Listen up to this. I love AJ. I think he's a great fighter. I got a lot of flack for last week and the week before saying that I think he would give Volk a run for his money. And I didn't say he would beat him, but I said that I think he would give him a run for his money. That performance that I saw from him, he ain't beating him. And I say the same thing with Patricio. Patricio, he fought a very smart fight. Okay, and I'm a Patricio fan. We've trained together here at my gym. He's a good person, a really good person. I fought his brother. His brother and I are really good friends. Very civil to each other, and always got a lot of love for them and their family. Their kids are always there. Amazing people. He didn't have a great performance either, you know. And so there was just so much at stake, John. I think, and it was a big show. This is also too one of the biggest crowds that we've had since COVID's pretty much been lifted. And, you know, I mean, it was pretty much a packed out arena in San Jose, and it was awesome, man. It was a great time, but I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of pressure on Patricio to get his title back. And for AJ, was the motivation there after what happened in the first fight?
All right, I want to talk about one of the greatest products out there. If you are a smoker, you're a vapor, and you want to stop that nasty habit, Fume is the product for you. Josh Thompson, I know that you have friends that have smoked, they have vaped, and they need to get off of that because it's horrible for their health. They need to get on Fume. Fume is nothing more than a wood prominent that you will put essential oil cores into, and you will use that same hand-to-mouth habit that you have developed over the years with your smoking and vaping. You're still going to get that hand-to-mouth habit, but now it's going to be a healthy habit. You can do it on a plane. You can do it on a train. You can do it in a car with your kids because there is no odor. There is no smoke. There is no vape going all over the place. Josh, talk to me about you and what you know about Fume.
I didn't expect to like Fume as much as I did, but I got to be honest with you. It has different types of flavors and taste that go along with these essential oils. They do no harm to you. It just, like you said, John, it helps you get rid of that hand-to-mouth habit, whether it's vaping, smoking, even dipping. I would think it would help get rid of that as well. And it's kind of a cool little setup with the Breathe Fume. Fume is F-U-M. So go to www.breathefumefum.com/weighing in. Okay? use our promo code weighing in. They'll give you a little bit of a discount there at 10%. And it's a pretty cool product for you guys that are trying to get rid of that smoking and vaping habit. It's probably even, like I said, as well as dipping. I mean, John, it's been pretty cool for me. It's actually, I kind of use it around. Everyone knows I've got like a nasal issue going on because the way everyone gives me a hard time in the comment section. But it also has helped me with that menthol kind of taste that I use from it. Helps me with that. Helps clear out my nasal cavity right before I go to sleep or right before we do the show. Sometimes it works for me when I'm doing the show. I got to probably use it a little bit earlier than I normally do. I got to start using it more often throughout the day, but it's been a great product that I've enjoyed using since we've been working with them.
They have a plethora of flavors, all kinds of things: lemon bliss, peppermint, black pepper, conquer, all these invigorating types of flavors. Try it, use it, you will love it. Fume is the way to go. I look at it when you sit there and you say, I thought Patricio fought a very smart fight. He is an intelligent fighter, and he went and he did what he needed to do in the first fight. Is he ended up being put on his back foot, and that made him uncomfortable. He made a mistake. He got hit. Anyone get hit, and he got put away. He came out saying, I'm not going to do that. In fact, I'm telling myself I will not back up. If he comes into me, my first thought, counter, and I'm going to try to throw counters off of it. I am not backing up. And he didn't, and he controlled the cage, and that's what caused AJ some problems. AJ has been able to get people to move away from him, and he's able to use all of that footwork and that distance control to land his shots, and things just weren't quite the same in this match as it was in the first. And I think inside he felt like he could always move Patricio around. He couldn't do that. And if you're looking at it and you're going saying, it was a super close fight, neither guy, I think both guys got a little bit stunned somewhere in the fight. I thought, in the third round, AJ got hurt. I kind of forgot about that. That's how he got into the guillotine, because he did get hurt. And so Patricio, almost had him in that, situation, had him hurt. You look and you go, it was close. It really comes down, it's like the other fight. 5-round fight comes down to the first round. Because if you go back and you watch it, second round goes to Patricio, third round goes to Patricio, fourth round goes to AJ McKee, and the fifth round definitely goes to AJ. So it all comes down to who wins that first round. And, and it's a close first round with not a lot of activity, similar to other fights. So it's a rough one.
Are we referencing another fight, are we?
Well, I went back and watched that fight, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Look, I wasn't impressed with AJ's performance in the fight because I felt like, as the fight started going on, he fought well, but he was just trying to land one, two, one kick, one punch, and you're not going to beat someone like Patricio, especially the second time with something like that. And I felt like Patricio, every time he avoided getting hit, or every time one of his combinations landed or AJ McKee's combinations missed, he started building confidence. Those first couple of exchanges, Patricio was hesitant because of what happened in the first fight, I believe. He wasn't sure how much he remembered of how fast he was, how much power did he have, is the kick going to come this way? Like, there wasn't much to remember from the first fight. And so there was not much to take away. And I think Patricio, as the time went on, as the fight went on, and I'm saying like within the halfway through the first round and then finishing the first round, Patricio started believing like, okay, I can win this fight. Like, he started believing that, my game plan, just stick with it. And, we're going to just start touching him here, touching him there. One of these is going to land. And in the third round, it dropped him, sat him to his butt. And then, Patricio was able to jump on the neck.
Yeah.
I wasn't, and look, and I'm not going to, I got a lot of love for AJ, and I'm not trying to go too hard on the paint on either one of them. Because there was a lot at stake for both of them, just like there was in the last fight.
Absolutely.
But I really I guess I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more.
Of course you did.
I wanted to see more. I think everyone does. We all do. Because I know how good AJ is, and I know how good Patricio is.
I think you know what both guys are capable of.
Yeah.
And you want to see their very best against each other. It's just that sometimes when you put guys that are really good against each other, they can't perform to that same level because that other guy's really good too, and they don't want to take the chance and make the mistake, as was what happened in the first fight. So it's understandable. It was still a good fight. It just wasn't one of those barn burners that you go, oh, you got to see this. It wasn't one of those.
Yeah. I had AJ winning the fight. But like I'm going to go back to another fight. I don't care who wins. I don't have a stake in the game on how this goes. I like Patricio a lot. I like AJ a lot. I think they're both extremely talented. I think they're the two of the top featherweights in the world. I want to see more out of AJ because look, if you have this much hype surrounding you, you have this much going for you, all your athletic ability, all your potential and your talent, everything you have working for you. And for you not to like, it felt like he was comfortable in that 5th round, kind of like skirting through it, going like, I'm going to keep getting these, I'm going to keep pushing him to the fence, getting some takedowns, whatever it is, just touching him one time. You got to be more dominant. And this goes for every corner and this goes for every fighter. If the round's close, expect that you lost it. Expect that you lost it. That's it. And go out there and try to get that win. You have to go out. You can't leave it in the judge's hands.
That's what, it's one of those things you can look, and if you're AJ and you're looking at it and you're upset with, the judge's decision, the only person you can look at is you.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that in any bad way. I'm just saying could you have done more? And if you can say, yes, I could have done more. And I think in this situation, he could have, then you got to put it, it's not on the coaches. It's on the guy this is why it's a team game with coaches and teammates and things like that. But it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
Because you're the only one that's in that cage. You're the one that's putting on that performance. When it's remarkable, it's because of you. And when it's, just not enough, it's, you get squeaked out in a decision, you got to look and say, hey, it's on me.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that come along with this, though, John. The repercussions of not re-signing your contract.
Well,
it's betting on yourself and understanding that, like, hey, you've got to bet on yourself. I did the same thing. I did the same thing with the Benson fight.
Yeah.
They were trying to re-sign me right before that to an extension, and I just said, nah, I'm going to wait for the title shot, and then we'll restructure before then. Then I lost to Benson. I didn't anticipate, breaking my hand and breaking my thumb and wrist and all that stuff in the fight. But this is one of those scenarios where if you're going to bet on yourself, you have to go out there and continue to be as dominant as you've been, for your 18 fights or 18 fights previous to this one. And,
but I never have a problem when a fighter bets on themselves. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it shows, hey, man, I believe in myself. And I love that about, any fighter that does it. And so the fact, there's reasons, and I can't say the reasons why AJ hasn't signed a contract, but there's reasons, and those reasons will be resolved. So it's not, we all make decisions at times, we all do things, and sometimes those decisions are right, sometimes they're not. And it takes time for us to get past the bad decision. And so AJ's contract thing will be resolved. Bellator wants him. I think a lot of people are looking, AJ makes statements about going to the UFC, and hey, that's okay. If he wants to go to the UFC, I understand why. But it's similar to the Kayla Harrison thing. Look at Bellator wanted Kayla Harrison, and they were willing to pay her a lot of money. And similar to AJ, the PFL has the ability to match. Same as when Michael Chandler wanted to go to the UFC and they offered him a lot of money, and Bellator had the ability to match, and they said, you know what, it's time for you to go there. Let's go. And I don't think they're going to say it's time for you to go there, AJ. I think they're going to have the ability to match, and that'll probably happen.
They have no interest in letting him go. They love him. They love him. They've been trying to get the deal done. They just haven't been able to work out the small, tiny details.
Yeah.
I think they've come to pretty close agreements on a lot of things. It's just a couple little details that are sticklers, I think, for some fighters. And I've had issues like that in the past. And I know a lot of other guys out of AK that have had issues, but it's all eventually gets all worked out, especially if you want to be there.
This is part of the fight game.
Yeah, this is every sport, John. This is the NFL. This is baseball. It's football. It's all of them. There's always some structural issues that go on with the contracts. Are we gonna see a 3?
I'm sure. No, I don't think so. Now, AJ right away said, you know what, it's over. I'm moving to 155, and I think he is. He's tired of making the 145-pound weight cut. It takes a lot out of him. And I think it's time for him to move on. It's okay. There's other people there in the 145-pound division to challenge Patricio. I think he looks and says, you know what? I can challenge for the lightweight title within a couple fights, maybe even one. And I'm being honest, when you look at it, I thought there was a reason for Patricio to get that rematch. With everything that he's done, as long as he had held the title and the things that he had done as the champion, he got beat, but he deserves that immediate rematch. And I say this all the time. There's times people deserve immediate rematches, and there's times they don't.
Yeah.
And in this situation, I look at it and I go, it's really not, I don't think because of that fight. I think based on the first one, people want to see, can Patricio do better? Can AJ do it again? Now, based on the performance that they had against each other, I think people are like, I've seen it. It's not, that's not the fight and I want to see something else.
Yep. Yeah, no, I would have to agree with you. I would think that if AJ stayed, I was expecting him to fight, Adam Boric, but Adam Boric is going to be next probably against Patricio after Patricio takes a little bit of probably some time off.
And be honest. I'm asking, who would you rather see right now fight Patricio? I think I'd rather see Adam Boric.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I'd like to see that fight because it's never happened, and I want to see how Boric's style works against Patricio.
Yeah, I would rather see Adam Boric versus AJ McKee.
Well, no, I'm not. But that's not.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but that was the fight that I was hoping to see.
Yeah.
And then I also, I also would like to see the Patricio and Aaron Pico.
That would be good.
Both guys are shorter in stature. Pico fights at a pace that not many people can keep up with.
Right.
You may see Pico fight some, maybe like a Mads coming up because Mad is, I think, and him are ranked side by side. Boric is probably getting the next title shot. Pico's up there in the number 3, number 4 spot. So, it makes sense.
Yeah.
What a lot of people, I think, some people are overlooking because Pico was able to beat him was Justin Gonzalez, man.
Oh, my God.
That kid's a stud.
He is a stud.
He's a stud. He's got great cardio. He's absolutely amazing. I don't want to get too far off track, but
exactly.
Patricio is the new champ. Got his title back, and AJ is, from what I understand today, said he's going to probably go up to 55. He's done at 145. I don't think that's a good decision as of yet. While you're young, stay where you can still make the weight, and then maybe try to get get a win and then get the title shot again, win the title, then maybe bounce out. I think I would have liked to have seen him make another run because there's a storyline there, but maybe not an automatic storyline for them to fight again, but there's a storyline there.
Sure, always.
So,
all right, you got Vadim Nemkov against Corey Anderson, the $1 million prize sitting there for the light heavyweight world Grand Prix, and it ends in a no contest.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
This is the fight game, man. It's unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. But I'm going to be very honest. I thought Nemkov had a good first round, but then after that, Corey was taking over that fight.
I agree with you. I thought Nemkov won the first round. I thought Corey Anderson won the second, and he was definitely winning the third.
Yep.
When the fight ended, with like 6 seconds left in the third?
Yeah.
So
let me ask you about that. Accidental headbutt. We saw a lot of things like that going on today in the UFC as well.
Yeah.
But accidental headbutt. But does the fighter have to come out for the 4th round for them to go to the scorecards, or does it have to do 2.5 minutes of the round for 2 scorecards?
It has to enter the 4th round. 1 second.
Got it.
Enter the 4th round.
And then, oh man. Obviously it was a freak accident. Corey did not mean to headbutt. He missed. Like you said, he was starting to run away. I felt like he was starting to take over the fight. It was going his way.
Yeah.
So, I have another question for you though, John.
Yeah.
Was Vadim Nemkov, would you think a lot of what is going on in Russia affected him? Because he didn't look himself. You and I were texting. He's like, he looked a little flabby. He didn't look. He
looked flat. I really was when he walked out. I texted you right away. Dude, he looks flat. And you don't know what's going on. There's it's hard to say. We know what we hear is going on with Russia and Ukraine and all the the travesty of what's going on. Being that he's a citizen of Russia, and what training he could do, what was going on, I don't know. Coming over here, all the things he had to do to get over here. a lot of
come here
stuff.
earlier than he probably wanted to as well.
Exactly. And so, I mean, do I think it had an effect? He did not look quite the same. And I texted you, dude, he looks flat. It's kind of like the same thing, when, and I wasn't going to put it out over when we were talking. That's why I texted you. But it's like, when Rogan, back when Aldo was going to fight McGregor, he said, hey, he looks flat. I can't remember what he said exactly, but it was the same type of, you could see a difference in him physically in the way that he was holding himself. And I saw a difference in him. I was like, a little bit flat, but who knows?
Yeah, I wonder just how much fighters go through a lot, whether it's family stuff, personal issues in terms of whether they own gyms or they own businesses, sponsors, relationships, girlfriend, boyfriend, kids, whatever it is. Athletes go through a lot. But I mean, this has got to be something like that. I think the Russian athletes across, they're having to deal with just pressure, criticism, all these things that they're not even part of.
Yeah, they're getting criticized when it's not them, but it's someone had said something, and I tried to separate the world of sport and the world of politics. People don't, though. They just, if you are from a country that they believe is doing something wrong, they want to attack you just the same as they want to attack the people responsible, even though you're not responsible. And that's just the way it is.
It's very unfortunate. I mean, but the good thing is we're gonna see the rematch.
Yeah.
So we will crown a champion. Maybe we'll get some confetti for this one because there wasn't going to be confetti for the winner.
There's one thing I want to say on this, because there was a person I saw on Twitter that said, "Hey, they got that wrong," meaning California. That that had been over half of the fight, and the unified rules say that over half of the fight plus 1 second, they can go to a technical decision. And I want to say, California State Athletic Commission got that totally right. And this is why, and I don't know how this happened. The person is right. I went to the ABC and I saw exactly what they saw. Someone put in the wrong rule set, because there is a rule set, Josh, that designates that 1 round, 2 round, and 4 round fights in MMA can go to a judge's decision, technical decision, after they've reached the halfway mark plus 1 second. But based upon certain people and organizations, and I'm going to say it was the UFC, they really did not want that with 3 and 5 round fights. So 3 and 5 round fights stayed the same. In a 3 round fight, you had to enter the 3rd round for you to be able to go to a technical decision. Or if it was a championship fight, which this was, a 5 round fight, you have to enter the 4th round to go to a technical decision. So what was done by the California State Athletic Commission was absolutely the right thing to do.
Okay. Yeah, it's so weird they would have different rule sets for things like that.
I know. It's crazy, but it's the way it is.
Can we just say that it's all one thing? God, it's ridiculous.
Don't you wish?
Yeah. Yeah, it would make everyone's life easier.
And the problem with this is, if you look, and I notified the president. I said, "Hey, man, you guys got this wrong in the rules." And it's just that whoever was the secretary that decided to type and put that into their database of the website, they did it wrong. They just made a mistake because they don't understand it, so they're just doing what they think is right with what they're saying.
Got it. Well, I mean, like, if they would have used the wrong rule, if they would have went the other way.
Corey Anderson would be a much happier man with $1 million check, because the 3rd round would have gone to him.
2 straps around his waist.
2 straps around his waist. So I'm sorry, Corey.
Yeah, buddy. Aaron Pico looked absolutely amazing.
Wow.
And Edwards is a tough SOB.
Man, he is. I was so impressed. That dude took so many hard body shots. Ugh. And Josh, and it's hard to explain to someone what a body shot feels like when it hits you right. And Aaron Pico hit him with a multitude of big time body shots. I know that Adley in the back, he said He goes, I'm sorry that I didn't do well, that I bitched out. And he said it to the referee, Mike Beltran, who went back to see if he was okay.
Yeah.
Beltran told him, he goes, dude, you were tough as fucking nails. You were awesome.
It's crazy.
And I want to tell you, Adley, you were tough as nails, dude. You have nothing to feel bad about. Yeah. You fought your ass off. You reminded me so much of, I wanted to say it, and I wrote it to Mauro Ronaldo while we were talking. I said, he looks like Tony Ferguson in there. Just the way his body was, how tough he was, and just his features and stuff, except for the curly hair.
A little bit of the resemblance.
He was looking like Tony Ferguson. I was like, God damn, he reminds me of Tony. I thought, you couldn't ask a guy to fight harder in the amount of time against a guy like Pico and what he was doing. Come on. Hats off to him. Here, hold on. Hats off to him. Just incredible.
Yeah, stud. Pico looked good. He was hitting the transitions, in terms of the punching, the striking, all the, to the wrestling. It's worked out so fluidly for him in terms of the transitions. His coaches have made a Jackson wink and helping him utilize his great boxing and putting the two things together. I know guys that are still I also know female fighters that have good wrestling backgrounds. They just never merge their stand-up with their wrestling. Yeah. And there's some pretty damn good wrestlers. They just haven't been able to put it together. They can't throw punches and wrestle at the same time. They can't mix it so it just flows. And I know it's easier said than done, but it was just one of those things that he needed to learn, because he had great boxing, he had great wrestling, and now with the kicks, he's implementing the kicks, and he's got great submission attacks and attempts. He's getting good.
Dude, he is becoming so multifaceted. His kicks now are good. They're hard, and he brings them into the legs, up into the body, up high to the head. He's doing it all. His boxing is very sharp, very crisp. And look at where he keeps his hands most of the time. He's protecting himself. He's being very smart, cautious, and just precision is the name of the game when he's going after people. It's impressive. And I don't care, Josh, I don't care who it is. When he wants to take somebody down, they're going down. The dude can frickin' wrestle. I mean, he adjusts and chain wrestles so well. He starts to flow, and guys just all of a sudden they're 1, 2, 3 steps behind, they're on the ground.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, he possesses power for such a small guy. He's got a lot of power in his hands, and he doesn't look physically strong, but his technique and his position on his wrestling, he makes it look so effortless to get easy takedowns.
He looks pretty damn physically strong. He's got to back that fucking one.
Yeah. But he's not, but when you wrestle with him, he's not physically strong. He's just always in the right position.
Fucking good.
Yeah, his body placement, his position, and the way he turns the corner, everything, it comes so effortlessly for him. I mean, I know there's years and years of him putting in the hard work. Yeah. Obviously, but man. Yeah. He's jumped. He's becoming the fighter that the world was expecting him to be when he first came onto the scene. And
it just took
I'm
time.
happy for him.
Just took time.
Yeah.
And he's still got so much time. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the great thing is like what I did like about the couple speeches we've had with him or conversations we've had with him over the last week, because we did the presser on Monday and then we did the fights and the fighter meetings, is he said, you know what? I don't have dates anymore. I don't have dates on when I have to be the champion. Oh, I got to be the youngest champ. No, I don't need to do that stuff. I'll be champion when it's my time.
There you go.
And I think that also helped him a lot. Just realize
takes the pressure, throw it away.
Just keep winning, keep knocking him down, keep paying me, keep doing all these things, and and so I'm excited because I think him and Mads Burnell would be a great fight. Him and Mads,
really good fight.
And Patricio and Boric could fight next. Yeah. So but overall, I really believe after what I saw out of him, he'll be champion one day for sure.
Yeah, not a doubt. Not a doubt.
Go ahead, John. You're talking about heavyweights, so go ahead, John. You talk about the heavyweights. These are your people.
Come on, you have to. Linton Vassell showed so much heart. He got hurt by Tim Johnson, and Tim again showed, man, his boxing has gotten way better. His hands, he's actually able to throw good strikes, and he's got power. He hurt himself. Yeah. When he did that, lunge in, take bulldozer down. Tank jump onto him. He if you notice, he got a cut. He did it to himself. He ran his head into Litton's head, he actually received the worst of it, and the fight just went downhill from that moment because Litton held onto that leg, got him to his back, and we have talked about it. I have never seen one person get Linton Vassell as a heavyweight. They can't get him off. The guy has got great base balance. He is super heavy in the hips, and he will put down an ass whipping on you if he's in the top position. And that's what he did. And he lit, Tim Johnson up, and you got to give it to him. Man. He was hurt in that fight. No quit. That's what, four wins in a row as a heavyweight. The dude he's coming.
I have no idea how he ever made 205.
He's fucking huge.
He's enormous, John.
The best part is, but the guy that's hanging out with him is bigger.
Yeah, I was like, who the hell are you? Like, where'd you come from? Like,
I know.
How are you not in the NFL or like the leading star in rugby somewhere? Jeez. Guy was enormous and super athletic. He was like, looked like just shred. I don't know if he was athletic or not, but you could definitely tell it looked like he was. He was just a mountain of a man and just lean and ripped anyways.
He's one of those guys that eat light and crap thunder.
I'm gonna skip over the Howland fight. I'm gonna go right into the Tyrell Fortune and Rakeem Cleveland. Tyrell looked good.
Yep.
Didn't have to utilize his wrestling. Hands look good. Knees look good. He's coming together as a fighter. I think he's putting a little bit like how the Pico situation is. He's learning how to mesh everything together. And that's
he's also, he was on that fast track. He wanted everything real fast. He's gotten rid of that. One fight at a time. Let me just go out there and perform. Let me get better. That's the way to look at it.
I think some of it, though, as well, was a little bit of that. He trained with Bader. He kind of knew, and then Bader was the champ at the time. He was like, I know how I do with him. I could do this. I could do that. But it's different when the bright lights turn on, man. Everyone has a different. Tyson says that everyone has a game plan to get punched in the mouth kind of situation.
Yeah.
And some nights are not your night, But it was his night last night, and so that's all that mattered. So he came out, had a great performance. Who I think is going to be. He seemed different this time. It was Yagshimuradov. He seemed different this fight. He had a little bit more tenacity, a little bit more intensity to him. He actually looked like he was in a lot better shape this time. He trimmed out. He was a little bit more muscular, but a little bit trimmer as well around the waist. He looked good. He looked good.
Yeah,
I was impressed.
But he's been working out. He took time out, went to ATT, and he's been working out with Artem Levin, who's was a fantastic kickboxer, and he's adding to his repertoire with what he's learning with Artem. And he always had good spinning attacks and everything, but he would get himself off balance out at times and out of place. And I thought, he took his time. He's going against a guy who was much longer, had a good reach on him and everything, and just picked his spots. And when he was able to open up, the guy's strong. He's got power. He's got fast hands. He was, he's a good fighter. Again, I'd refed him when he was over in ACB, and he was good there. So he just coming to a new place. It's not as easy as people think. I don't care where you go. The first time you're in the UFC, it's rough because it's just a different environment, and you're not as comfortable. Even if you've been fighting somewhere else, if you go to the PFL, it's gonna be the same thing. You go to Bellator, it's the same thing. Yeah,
if you look at the history of the sport, when fighters come over, they don't normally have great performances their first fight in another organization.
Tough.
Look at the guys that came over from Pride. We all knew they were all animals. When they came over, they didn't do very well in the UFC. Yeah. And then look, when Chuck Liddell went over to Pride, he didn't do very well over there either. He had the win against Alistair, but he didn't look great in that fight.
No, he had some difficulties at times, yeah.
Yeah. So, and Chuck's one of my closest friends in the sport. He had some issues with Alistair, the reach, the range, the lengths, the power, all of those things. He was able to pull it out, but it really is. It really is when you go to another organization. Like even my first fight in the Bellator, I was like, oh yeah, I've been fighting all around the world. But I was like, man, I got a little bit of nerves.
A little tight.
Had nerves in a fight in a long time.
Yeah, a little tight, man. It's tough.
Yeah, my return from Strikeforce though to the UFC for the Nate fight. No nerves.
You look good. I'll give it to you.
No, but there was no nerves that fight. It almost felt like just like being back.
But
like
you've been there.
Yeah,
you've been there.
Yeah. Yep. But I felt I didn't have nerves for my Pride fight, my Ryzen fight, my Dream fight, all those fights. I didn't have nerves for not Rising. I didn't fight in Rising. I
I
fought in the other one. Fun Dream. They all just mesh together. They're all owned by the same people.
Yeah, no
It's
kidding.
like,
No kidding.
oh man. Hey, but I'm going to give a little quick shout out to a couple people though on the undercard but we probably won't talk too much about him. Was Bobby Cerronio the third?
Fantastic.
He's a fantastic
That
fighter,
kid's gonna
young
be good.
talent. He's going to be good. Great little sidestep to the right, straight right down the pipe.
And good wrestling.
Boom. Yeah, he's got good wrestling. He's chaining his submissions together. Very impressive work by that young bantamweight. He's a young kid, big crowd favorite.
Yeah.
He's got quite a following. So in the Bay Area, when I think of fighters coming out of the Bay Area, I think of ones that could sell tickets, And so like myself being one, Gilbert Melendez being one, Nick and Nate obviously being them. You've got certain fighters that just had a way of, and he's one of these kids. He's got quite a following, man. Good for him. Good stuff. Yeah. Gaston Bolanos got it back against Daniel Carey.
Okay, one thing about that. If you want to watch textbook footwork and how to stop a guy that wants to take you down, watch that fight with Gaston Bolanos, because his footwork in that fight against Daniel Carey was fantastic. Unbelievable, and his patience, and that's why he got the knockout.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked good. The up kick, was nice, setting it all up and then going right from there to finish it off. I got it in. I went a little hard in the paint against my boy. I ran into him after I left the hotel, had a couple cocktails. Kyle Crutchmer. I did. I just said, hey,
Why?
Kyle, because he's better than that. I know that he has got better stand-up than that, but he just never sat down on any of his punches, and he didn't commit to him. He kept going to the overhand right. I know he's a better striker than that. And I caught up with him, and I said, man, I go, you gotta sit down on your stuff. You got power. You got to throw it in 2s and 3s. Don't just throw the one. Don't keep looking for the big overhand right. He could have had a lot more dominant performance had he committed to a couple more strikes, 2 and 3, and then right to the wrestling, vicious ground and pound, all those things. Look, a win's a win. I'm all look, a win's a win, and I know in this day and age, maybe he wasn't feeling it, but I want everyone, you guys call me the punk for a reason, but I mean, it's because I tell my friends how I feel. I say, hey, whether you want to hear it or not, he's a phenomenal wrestler. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. He's got good ground and pound, and he's vicious on the ground and pound. He's coming along in the submissions department as well. I just know that he's a better striker than that. I've sparred with him. I've seen him spar against top level guys. He just, for some reason, seemed like he was off in that department. And maybe it was whatever Lombardo was doing in there. And because I can sit back here and John, you know this. You can sit from the outside looking in going, oh, how come you don't do this? How come you don't do that? But when you're in there, little tiny things, the way they move their feet, the way that their hands are in a position, you're not seeing the openings, whatever it is. He just kept going to that overhand right, and it was driving me nuts because I'm like, throw the 2, throw the 3, follow up with it, I was like, and that's only because I care for the kid, man. He's an outstanding young man. He's an absolute great.
I'm going to tell you, that's 2 big wins in a row for him. I thought his fight against Oliver Enkamp, he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And I know that Mike Lombardo is a good fighter. Mike Lombardo reminds me of Rich Franklin. He kind of looks like Rich Franklin. He kind of fights like Rich Franklin. And he's good everywhere, man. He's a tough dude. And I thought Kyle actually fought a really smart and good fight against a guy that's a good fighter. I told him, he talked to me, and I said, man, I thought you looked great.
Yeah. Look, we have to give an honorable mention to Luna and Hernandez. There's no way you can't.
I am not honorable mentioning that at all. I'm telling everyone it's one of the best damn fights you'll ever watch. Freaking Socrates Hernandez versus Luna is unbelievable. Luna is a monster.
Yeah.
This guy has a gas tank like a diesel truck. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe his output. I couldn't believe how much he took. What Socrates Hernandez took. They beat the living dog shit out of each other and kept going. It was unbelievable. I love that fight. I will never, ever. Socrates Hernandez fought Bobby Cerronio in his first professional fight. Now he fights Luna in his second. And I said it on the air, and I mean it, Josh, that is the best 0-2 fighter in the world. That kid's tough. He reminds me of
the best or just the toughest?
Okay, we'll go with the toughest.
Okay.
And I love the kid. Unbelievable heart, man.
Yeah. I was watching. I can't believe this is happening.
Oh.
It should have been one of. We should have actually put that in on the actual main card as a filler. Just let everyone. I think it's one of those fights we should probably play inside the stadium to get everyone ready for the the actual night of fights. Be like, hey, this happened on our last card, or this happened.
Josh, think about how many fights that you've been at, how many fights you've seen. Same with me. How many have you seen that were better than that?
It's very, very few and far between.
The only
reason why I would consider some being better is that because the level of intensity from being top level fighters.
Sure.
These two are not, he's 0-2. These are not, they're not Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Weili Zhang. You know what I mean? They're not that level yet.
But I'll tell you what, it was absolutely just as fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a great fight.
Incredible fight.
I'll give a little honorable mention as well. Laird Anderson, he got a nice win. His dad fought in the UFC, fought John Lewis, and so I got to always kind of comes from a nice lineage. His brother as well is a fighter, and he fought. His brother, I think, also fought one of the Bellators in San Jose. I can't remember which one. And Theo Haig, he's from AKA, so I got to give him some mention. Also, good job, my friend.
Quick win.
Yeah. John, let's jump into the UFC, buddy.
Let's go, baby. Let's go to the main event because you got to be impressed with what Belal Muhammad was able to do. I mean, it's not the most exciting form, but against Luque, all that movement, there was purpose behind it. Luque was cutting him off. He would switch back, but he did land some big shots. And a guy, I looked at it and thought he's going to be lucky to get 2 takedowns against Luque. If he can get 2 takedowns, that's good for him. Dude, he took him down at will.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was 4 for 4 at a certain point.
I think it was 5 for 5.
5 for 5, okay.
Yeah. It was 5 for 5 for John. What was very evident to me right off the bat was that Luque looked slow. This show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. I actually like that intro at MyBookie.ag. Use that promo code weighing in. John and I had a lot of fights over this last weekend. The UFC and Bellator had big time fights that were just fun. A lot of upsets, a lot of things that just were unexpectedly happened, to be honest. We're going to break into that in a little bit. But look, go to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code weighing in. They'll give you a little extra spending cash on us if you guys use that promo code. Also, there's a QR code there to help you speed up the process. If you want to get there a little bit faster, scan that little QR code there, and that'll take you there right to mybookie.ag/weighing in.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's tight with his technique, and he throws the short left hook. He's so good. But you just talked about Gaston Bolanos' footwork, the stuffing takedowns. Luque didn't have that.
Nope.
And when I'm thinking right, this guy trains with Gilbert Burns, trained with the champ Usman for a while. He didn't seem like he had much takedown defense, and I've seen him fight. I know he does.
Yeah.
But he just didn't look. His legs were closer together. It almost like he didn't realize the takedown was going to come.
It was like he was caught off guard every time Belal actually shot. He was not expecting it, and it caught him off guard. And Belal has got that nice. He does the step behind with the leg to force the takedown.
The trip,
he got past it a couple of times, but he was not prepared for the timed shots that Muhammad did, and you got to give it to Belal, man. He was a dog in that fight because he took some big shots, and he definitely got hurt in that one round. He was hurt, and he was able to get into the clinch and get himself straight. Smart fighter.
Well, Belal's talked himself right into a fight with Colby Covington.
Dude, didn't he though?
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I was expecting a little bit more out of Vicente. No different than how I feel about the AJ and the Patricio fight. I was expecting a little bit more. He's extremely talented. There's no doubt. I still think he's still one of my favorite fighters to watch. And this goes back to the same thing, the same way I feel about AJ and Patricio, is that they're still some of my favorite fighters to watch. It's difficult because you can have an off night. It seemed like Luque just wasn't able. The movement of Belal, because you have to give Belal credit because the movement is what gave him problems. I want to make sure people are getting credit these days because everyone's panties get a little bunch, and then we got
a lot of bunch panties.
It's all right. A lot of panties. Also, we got. Anyways, but Bilal, I thought, like, he fought a great fight. A lot of movement, sticking to movement. He landed some clean, hard shots as well. He got rocked, I think, in the third it was, with that left hook. And but then Luque was like trying to come after him, but could never find him again. He was touched him a little bit. Then he was able to grab him and hold him. It was a very, very, very good game plan by Bilal Muhammad. But then Vicente just needed a little bit more. The speed was the factor because Bilal was getting in super deep on the takedowns. He was landing the shots. He had the faster hands. Luque was tighter, but it just seemed like he wasn't able to find the mark because of the movement, and he was a step behind.
Yeah, everything was just a little bit off. You
Yeah.
know, and that happens in fights. I mean, they're 1-1 now. I assume they're going to end up eventually being across from each other one more time, which is fine because, it was an interesting fight. It was different than I thought. I thought I wasn't prepared for all the movement that Bilal did. But I thought it was a good idea. I thought it was a good game plan. It kept Luque from actually opening up a lot, and it gave Bilal those moments when he shot in, he got the takedown.
Yeah.
That was a difference maker in the fight because it took the momentum. As soon as Luque would start to get a little bit of a roll and start to actually be touching him a little bit, that's when it would come.
Yeah.
It was great. Good job.
Great performance.
Big win. Good job for him. He deserves it.
Oh, yes. Omar Gadziev versus, how do you say his last name?
Baharo. Yeah,
Baharo. Yeah.
He looked
all right.
good.
Well, this is your world, so let's get into that.
You want to go into we're going right deep into the third round, right?
Yeah, right deep into the third round. I mean, I don't even know how you say his name, but he was dominating the fight.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, he was controlling everything about it. He was looking great. There was not a moment. The back takes were insane. The figure four was insane. Like he was the switching of back and forth.
Beautiful switching of that figure four back and forth. It was great.
It was brilliant. And the other thing I've never seen someone do, which I'm actually gonna now I'm gonna try and play around with this a little bit in training, is when fighters start to slide off on the figure four and they don't have that foot hooked. He was grabbing his ankle and pulling it so then the fighter couldn't spin in his guard. And I was like, I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone else use that. Like if the leg's not there, they have the hook in or they have the belt line hook. But then as he was starting to lose it, he grabbed his own shin, like right above his ankle, and he just was able to pull himself back up.
Right
and
over.
I was like, oh, that was impressive.
Pretty slick.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And then he locked his figure four, and then
and he was
Omar Gadziev was just stuck there.
Yeah.
He was just stuck.
Yeah, he was stuck. But, let's talk about what you want to talk about is that ending sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to talk about, listening to Cormier, and because he keeps on saying certain things, and it's, Dan, I love you, dude, and I understand what you're trying to say. Well, what's the difference? Why is it one way one time and one way another? It's a different referee. There's a different decision to be made, and it was made. And the one thing I will say is this. And Dan should know, because he's been in those situations, if you take a look at the position that they were in, he's over the top. And if you think that you can see a hand on the ground, he's not seeing a hand on the ground, or he's not seeing a knee on the ground, because he's on his back over the top. And that's why he brings the knee. Why would a guy who is winning the fight, the entire fight, why would he intentionally foul to get disqualified? And this is where people need to stop getting into this whole thing. When it comes to fighting, we've got this thing of, Josh, name me the sport where you can commit an offense, a penalty, a foul, and you lose everything. You don't lose points. You lose the game based upon that one foul.
I mean, I don't know.
There isn't.
You caught me off guard with the question.
There isn't, though, and this is the point. When you look at it, and right away, so everyone understands, when Dan Mergulata took 1 point, that right there is telling you that he's saying it was unintentional. Okay, because the knee actually cut the opponent, right? So was there damage based upon the knee? Even if it didn't rock his head, you could say there's damage. if you're saying it's intentional, it's an automatic. You don't have a choice. You must take at least 2. You can take more. So right away when Dan takes the 1, it's telling you he's saying it's unintentional. But when you look at it and say, Dan comes up with the whole thing of, look, everything someone's throwing there, you intend to throw, and he's right. The guy intended to throw the knee, but he never intended to foul. That's the difference. And people need to start figuring out that fouls are going to occur. It's how did the foul occur? What was the situation? And what was the intent behind the foul? When you have someone that purposely and maliciously intends to foul and hurt their opponent through an act like jumping up and stomping down on them, or an act of taking their head and slamming their head into them, that is the type of foul that you will get disqualified from. When you talk about, groin strikes or knees to the head of a grounded opponent or downward elbows, those things happen all the time in different situations. Most of the time, the fighter's not trying to intentionally foul someone. They're intentionally trying to do the act because they think it's legal at that moment. That's what happens. This was the right call. It should go to the judges based upon it was in the 3rd round. He took a point. That's why you ended up with the scores the way they were. And the judges gave the fight to the right guy. He deserved to win the fight.
Yeah, I look at it this way. It gave him a way out of the fight. That's what it did. He was losing the fight, John.
Okay, and again, if you go back and you watch, and this is the first thing every time, when you're a referee, I tell people, take a snapshot. I want you to take a look at the first reaction of Omar Gadziev. Is that how I say his name?
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Take a look at his reaction. It's not that he goes down. He gets hit, and the first thing he does is he looks up at the referee. What does that tell you?
He's waiting to see if he should get his Oscar or not. Is Shamar polishing my Oscar?
It's like, I want to see, did you see that? Well, if you have the ability to look up and say, did you see that? I'm not saying it didn't hit you. I'm not saying it didn't kind of hurt you, but the whole thing of playing it out, he knew he was losing. He knew he was losing the fight. Yeah. And I think he thought maybe he could get himself, from losing the fight. It just didn't work out for him because the right thing was done. It went to a technical decision based upon when it happened, and that was the right way to handle it. That's the way to do it. He took a point. It could have altered the score and could have altered the winner, but based upon the performances, it didn't, and the right guy won.
Yeah, like the refs and the judges, man, these days just don't know what they're doing. No, I mean, like when I hear DC, like I love DC, but the bottom line is it's not just DC. Fighters don't know these things.
No,
we think we know the rules. We just don't know the rules.
Yeah, and I'm not putting DC down at all.
No, not at all.
I love him. I love his commentary. He cracks me up all the time. But it's when you're sitting there saying, but he intended to do it. No. Yes, he intended to throw the knee. Yes, DC's right. Did he intend to foul him? Was there purpose in trying to foul his opponent? No, that was accidental. He thought it was legal. Yeah. Made a mistake.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. Andre Fiallo is a friend of mine, former teammate of mine.
Fiallo look good.
Like, I got to be honest, man. When I heard that he took this fight, I was like, ooh, it's a scary fight. Because I'll tell you why. Baeza hit him with that straight right halfway through the first round, and I was like, ooh. That's what I was afraid of, because if Baeza stays like that, if he just throws the 1 and the 2 right away, or like the 2 and the 3, and he throws it straight, no load up, there's a good chance he could beat Fiallo. Yeah. Fiallo's got power. He's not the fastest of guys. He's got power. He's got good takedown defense. And he, but he's fallen in love with his left hook, so he's got to start opening up that game a little bit more, not just the left hook. But man, that was some beautiful work in that clinch. Never stopped fighting, and that's what led to the finish.
Dude.
Nicely done. I mean, that's a huge win for him, John. Huge win.
Look, that's dirty boxing. What he did, you can't do in boxing, but you can do in MMA and grab that single collar tie, and he's bringing those uppercuts, bam, bam. it fucking rocked him. You could see it. And when he went down, there was a certain point. And I thought it was a good stoppage because you could see his head go back and he was flat. And then he started to come back, but it was a good stoppage and a great win for Andre. I mean, I feel good for him. I feel bad for Baeza. I like Baeza as a fighter. I think he's fun to watch. Yeah. Super technical, super clean. Just got caught. He got hit with shots that he didn't see coming up.
Who did Baeza? He's coming off two. That's his second loss now, right? Did he lose? I think. Can you click on Baeza?
I know he had a couple of losses in a row. Didn't he have a win in between?
No.
No.
Williams. That's who I was thinking of.
Chaos
I knew he lost to Ponzinibbio. but I remember he got knocked out by Williams. Yeah. And now Fiallo. He's gonna have a little bit of a run back, man. He's a good fighter, though, John. He's really good.
He was undefeated when he came in the UFC.
Yeah, he's a good fighter, though.
He is.
Talented
guy.
Go back to the drawing board, reinvent yourself a little bit, fix some things. But I mean, I can't imagine them letting him go, though. He's good.
He's a good fighter.
Next, go back to the full card. There you go. Bueno Silva versus I want to say Wu.
All
right.
Yeah.
Overall, good fight. I think Bueno Silva did some good stuff.
Both of them.
Wu just didn't have the power.
Did Wu remind you of anyone the way with her herky jerky kind of motion but landing?
Keith Jardine.
Dude, she did. I was like, man, she's like the dean of mean, man. She's like Keith Jardine.
Yeah. But you know who else reminded me a little bit like that?
Who's that?
Was what's his name? Bernardo, the one that fought Crutchmere. He was kind of a little bit like Lombardo. There you go. A little bit of that. Yeah. Bernardo. Whatever. Oh man, John, it's been a long couple days, man.
Yes, it has.
It has been. So if you guys are feeling I don't have the energy I normally have, the excitement I normally have, man. It's been a long couple days. There was a lot that went into it, with the LA press trip and then coming back and then getting right into Bellator for the week, But yeah, great week of fights. Overall though, Silva, she looked good. She got power. Started slowing down though as the fight was going on. Wu just had the output. It was pushing the pace, but no effect. Punches didn't have any effect.
That was honestly the biggest difference in it.
Yeah.
That was the biggest difference.
She needs more output. That she needs to sit down on the punches. A little bit of how I said about Kyle Crutchmere. Like, sit down on your punches, bud. You got some power, man. Throw. Yeah. He's got crack. And so with her, I don't know if she has crack or not because I've never sparred with her. But I think there's a lot of punching and moving all at the same time. When your feet are in the air as you're punching,
no power.
They don't have as much power.
Yep.
And so, I think that's a situation that she's going to have to remedy.
Yeah.
Sabatini looked fantastic. A little bit of a slow start in that first round, but I had him still winning the first round, but he just a little bit of a slow start. But then in that second round, he just took over.
Oh yeah.
Just started dominating the fight. Laramie he's a tough son of a gun as well.
Dude, you know what? TJ Laramie, I thought he fought really well.
Yeah.
I looked at that fight and I'm looking at it and, we talked about a fight we were looking forward to because I like Pat Sabatini.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I just don't see where he's better than Sabatini anywhere. And it's going to be a rough fight for him, a tough one for him to win. But I'll tell you what, man, he made it a dog fight. Yeah. He came to fight. And when he got hit with the freaking teep up the middle and it hurt him to the body, I was like,
yeah, man,
he hung in there. Tough dude. I thought.
Fought out of that guillotine.
Oh, fuck. There was a couple things, man. And I was like, man, that's a kid you want to watch fight again because he's coming to fight and he is giving everything that he has. I thought Sabatini, obviously easily won the fight, but he had to fight, man. He knew he was in a fight because Laramie was not giving him anything.
Let me ask you this. This was at featherweight. Is Sabatini really big for the weight or is Laramie just small for the weight?
I don't know. I never considered Sabatini like really big. He reminds me of a way of Sean Brady. He's kind of squatty, but muscular.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's ripped, man.
Yeah, he's ripped, and he's in shape, man. I was like, he is in shape. The guy has got a gas tank. He is just like Sean Brady. Whatever they're doing there in Philly, the water and the way that they're doing their workouts, keep doing it because, man, those guys have got a gas tank. They are.
Well, I always give Sean Brady a hard time because after his last fight, he looked tired. So
yeah,
Sabatini. Hey, Sean Brady, go do Sabatini's cardio.
Sabatini's workout. That's it. Yeah.
I'm poking fun of you, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Man, Sean Brady. Sabatini looked good. Wrestling's on point. Putting in the hardcore work.
Everywhere.
I think Laramie, she's 5'6". He had some good stuff in the first round. He was able to get to the top position. Was threatening some stuff. I mean, he looked good. I wonder if you're saying that Pat Sabatini's not a big guy for 145, and then I think Laramie needs to probably go down to 30.
You think Laramie can make 135?
I don't know.
Pretty
I've
damn
never
muscular.
seen 5'6" though.
It's pretty damn muscular.
Yeah, muscular means that you can actually just cut a mill out. That'd be fine. All right. What other fights on here you want to talk about? I mean, I know I want to talk about Devin Clark and William Knight.
Dude, Devin Clark, man, he looked good.
Yeah.
For a second there, looked like he was in trouble. And when William Knight was grabbing his neck and picking him up, and you go,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's not comfortable."
Yeah.
You're gonna feel that later on. But Devin Clark really, good wrestler, and has always been a good wrestler, and had a really nice takedown when he turned the corner on William Knight the one time. But he's getting better in his stand-up. His stand-up looked way better.
Yeah.
I've always been leery of watching him in the stand-up. It's like, he's concerned with it, and he's always looking to get the takedown. He actually looked comfortable in the stand-up. He's improved. He looked good with it, and he's taken on a monster as far as strength and, size there. So
I was like,
I
holy
thought
shit.
really good. Oh, man.
Both these guys have tree trunk legs. I was never blessed with great legs,
Devin Clark has got big-ass legs, man. He's got a lot of strength in those. But
I've always had chicken legs, so I envy those people. It's really upsetting to me. I mean, I spent a lot of time running, I think, and that's kind of what kept my calves are small. I've got like a bigger ass area, I don't know if that's the Mexican in me, but
no, it's just you're all ass.
I am. I know John be checking out my ass sometimes, huh?
Yeah, sometimes.
I'm all ass, man. I got a big ass. I thought Devin Clark looked great, man. And William Knight, he took the fight apparently on short notice. I thought he looked good as well, but you could tell in that third round he was slowing down.
But 251, come on. Let's be honest. Is he used to training at that heavy of a weight?
It's ridiculous.
If you're training, because he fights at 205, and if you're training at 230, you just added 21 pounds onto what you're normally training at. We'll say that's a hard thing to do.
Crazy.
It's a hard thing to do.
Too much.
Yep.
Hey, you guys, I want to skip over the Lazez fight. It was a good fight. Speed, power, everything looked great. But it was Anje? How do you say his name? Ange. I think it's anyways. Lusa. I don't want to get into it because there was a lot of buzz about he thanks somebody that right now is being investigated by the U.S. government. Some guy named Daniel Kinol, whatever it is. Dave, can you look it up?
You don't want to get into it,
but he's like an Irish mob. He's like an Irish mob.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anyways, but yeah,
there's a $5 million reward for him and his brother and his dad, I think.
Yeah. We let the journalist do that part of it. Let all that figure it out. But I don't know how they're all connected. But I saw the presser afterwards, and they just said that they're friends. He's like, hey, I thank them because we're friends.
Journalists get hurt feelings. Why?
Nah, people are getting not just journalists. It seems like fighters get hurt feelings too.
Yeah, well,
I don't understand.
No.
All right. What is the next one? Draka Close looked really good.
Drakkar Close looked really good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Drakkar Close looked really good. Good hands, good work. He's becoming very well rounded. But Jenkins looked kind of stiff.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've seen Jenkins fight. At least that I can recall. Very stiff. Looks like he's got power in his hands. Doesn't move his head off line at all.
No.
Kept himself straight up and down.
Yeah.
Tough as nails though too, but took a big shot, done. But I mean, Close is really good. He's tough. He's coming into his own.
He's got power.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of power.
And so good fight. Thought it was a good fight. I think that fight got him back on the win track is what I believe, right?
And I think because Drakkar used to fight at the MMA lab, then he left, and I think he's back there now, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, he is because John Crouch was in his corner.
Yeah,
it was
that's a good thing for him. It really is.
Yeah, and then Ronson versus Garcia.
Dude, Rafa Garcia, man, he looked good. He looked really good. He was on the feet. He looked good. Ronson was, had been gone for a while, and he's a good fighter. But Rafa Garcia, man, he was all over him throughout that. I know he had the one where they, took the point from him, but it kind of lit a fire under his ass, and he went after him and finished him. And it was like, I was super impressed. That's the second time I've watched Rafa, and he's a good fighter. That dude's tough.
Okay, scratch what I said about Brandon Jenkins. I got him mixed up with Jesse Ronson. That's what I got him mixed up. I was like, wait a second. That's not who. No, Ronson is the one that's real stiff. I was watching him trying to walk Garcia down, trying to hit him. He's very stiff, but you could tell he had power. And Garcia was just stick and move. He almost fought a very similar fight to how Bilal did.
Yeah.
But he was landing the clean shots. And Cub Swanson was saying that Garcia's got, he's extremely strong, one of the strongest guys he trained with, and just a talented young man. And like I watched I think it was his first fight in the UFC. Who did he fight? Who did Garcia fight, Dave? His first fight in?
It was Nasrat Haqparast.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And I think he took that fight like on short notice as well. Good stuff, though. I mean, I watched that first fight. That was the first fight I saw of him fight in the UFC.
It's tough.
Barnett versus, who do you say, Boudet?
Yeah, Bidet.
I always want to say Boudet, like the bidet. Big guy.
Whew.
He's enormous, really, man. When I looked at Chris Barnett, and I said, I was like, man, you're thick. You're thick. I love him. He's so fun.
He's at such a disadvantage in the weight class based upon his reach. He's got great, spinning attacks and things like that. Now he's fun to watch, but you got to look and go, man, he's giving away so much as far as length and the ability to get into guys. He's got to take chances, and he just got bullied in this fight. He got bullied.
Yeah. I agree. He did get bullied, which is, just pushed around and just hung on and pushed to the fence and all these things. Yeah, he got bullied.
And those knees to the body. He said I broke a rib, and if he broke a rib, and you know what that's like to fight with a broken fucking rib. That is not fun. And he tried, and so the fight ending, and I was okay with that. It was I don't want to see, because we have had guys who have been fighting with broken ribs, and the rib punctures their lung. It just happened recently. So
that was the elbow to the back of the head, though.
Yeah, but he had the broken rib. Yeah, and that rib, can puncture a lung and stuff. But I thought the elbow to the back of the head. Okay, I did think that Dan was going to take a point for it. He didn't, but.
The fight wasn't that close, though, John.
No.
So in both of these situations we saw, it was a good way for those fighters to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was looking at.
Well, I don't think Chris was getting given up. I think
no,
he was definitely hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think he was hurt from the elbow. I think he was hurt, from the body shots that were legal. So he's a hurt fighter there, and so it's good for him not to go back out.
Yeah, I'm going to say one thing about Jordan Levitt. My man, stop with the twerking, dog. Oh, he's like, no, I can't even see it. I don't even want to watch it. I was like,
what are you talking? Man. They replayed it, man.
They replayed it just for him.
DC commentated it. It's awesome.
Oh, man. Just insane. I was like, what are you doing, my man? What are you doing?
Fighter, though, man.
He's tough, though. The kid's tough.
Yeah, he can fight.
Yeah, he's tough. I don't know if it was a split decision. Did you give it a split decision?
No.
So I didn't give it either. I thought Jordan Levitt won convincingly. But then again, like John, we say this all the time. Like, I don't have any skin in the game on who wins these fights, and I don't care who wins. I want to see good fights. I think that's what majority of people should care about, is just seeing good fights. And then. Lastly, when the fight's close like this, and I said this about with the AJ thing, is that when the fights are close, you can't be mad whichever direction it goes.
Nope.
If you lost by 1 round because I thought I won that round, no, like it was close.
Yeah.
And that's why when I look back at a lot of my fights, I look at the Bobby Green fight. That one bugs me to this day still. But I'm like, there's nothing you could do. It was a close fight. I should have won the fight. You should have done more. That's what you should have done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, like, there's just fights out there that you're like, damn, I could have done more.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's why I always, when a fighter is like in a close fight like that, and then at the end of it, he's doing backflips and stuff. And, and I'm like, dude, if you had that much energy, why didn't you put it into the damn fight?
Yeah.
You're going to be upset if you lose this thing and you're doing backflips. So,
yep, I agree. All right, well, hey, that's going to wrap up our fight talk with our recaps on these UFC fights and the Bellator fights that happened Friday and Saturday evening. And there were some good fights, outside of all the headbutts, the clash of heads, the elbow behind the head, really just weird stuff. I mean,
knees to the head of a grounded fighter.
Yeah, knees to the head of the ground. Like everything was just really weird.
Yeah.
But overall, though, there was a couple good fights that snuck in on both cards.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't had a chance to watch the prelim fight that John was talking about with Socrates Hernandez and Luna, you guys, we recommend you go watch that. It should be on Bellator's YouTube channel. Check that out. It should be available there. It was a great fight. Great fight. And then check out the other 2 young kids that had great performances, Laird Anderson and Bobby Cerronio. Those are 2 young studs as well. Keep an eye on them for upcoming fights. Yeah, they're talented. They're good. Yeah. Hey, let's get into a little bit of news.
All right. There's only one thing I really want to touch on, and I think the rest of the stuff we can discuss in the midweek show. So the whole Aljo thing, John, right? Obviously that's been sweeping the headlines a little bit. He's mad at your opinion for some reason. I mean, it must be to do with the fact that you made the rules, and so he's mad that the rules.
No, I didn't ask him.
Yeah.
And so he came out and basically he called you a big stupid John McCarthy. Doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know how you're the gold standard. And then I noticed that you responded to him on Twitter. You let him know that he performed well, but that
Did I not say that during the podcast?
That round one couldn't be scored from. And then Josh made some good points as well on weighing and rejection, which you guys can watch by clicking the link below in the description. Where Dana also did say that Aljo didn't win the fight, and he had no beef with that. So lot going on. John, where do you stand now with this? Josh, what thoughts do you have? And then we'll have a discussion there, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
All right, everyone. I know that you are using your computer just like I'm using mine, but the one thing that I know while I'm using mine with IP Vanish, that my privacy is secure. If you go online, you are out there for everyone to steal your identity, steal what you are doing on the computer, steal your work, all of it. You need to have IP Vanish to protect you from all of those idiots out there that want to take what you work so hard for.
Yeah, if you go to ipvanish.com/WayneIn, use our promo code WayneIn, okay, and they're going to give you almost like a 70% off because IP Vanish is offering you an incredible 70% off their yearly plan for our listeners with a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's just like you getting 9 free months. John, 70% off for their yearly plan, and you're secure. You can use this on all your other devices as well. So like if you've got a Fire Stick in your car, like I have in my Denali, which is not working right now, but if I have, you can use it for your Fire Sticks, your Apple TVs, you can use it for all of your iPads, cell phones, computers, everything can be secure in your house. Just go to ipvanish.com/WayneIn, use that promo code WayneIn, and claim your 70% savings. That's what you guys got to do. Go to ipvanish.com/WayneIn.
Well, I wasn't even going to talk about it because look, I'm being honest when I say this. Aljo cannot like me. I don't care. You can like me. Okay. If you're thinking that, I have anything against him, I don't. I think he's a great fighter. I really do.
Yeah.
I think that, the dude is talented. And he's fun to watch. And if he gets on your back, he's a sumbitch. I'll be honest. I went back and watched the first round. And I will say this. I say it all the time. Don't sit there and talk to your friends and watch a fight and think that you judged it correctly. Because I was talking to my friends, and When I went back and watched it as a judge, it's razor close. It can go either way, and I can understand where someone looks at Aljamain and gives him the round, and I can look at where you can say that, yes, Jan won the round. It really comes down to what you give credit for, and this is the difference. In it, Aljamain basically lands mostly kicks, good kicks. He lands some good kicks in it, and he, a lot of movement, but it's not movement. It's purposeful movement. Jan is trying to chase him down, and Sterling has more output. Here's the difference that I see, and why someone could go with Jan compared to Sterling is every time you see Jan actually hit Sterling, he goes backwards. He boom, you can see him move. And every time that Sterling hits Jan, he's still coming forward. He doesn't back off, doesn't have any effect on him really. And that's really what you're looking for is power. But I can absolutely see why Sal D'Amato, and I don't know who the other one was, went with Aljo. Chris Lee went with Jan. I don't know the name of the other judge, but it was razor close. And so my comment of there's no way you can tell me would be wrong. And I'm going to take a note from this. I'm not going to watch the fights with friends anymore because I need to watch it. If I'm going to actually say who I thought won the fight and be honest with it, I can't do that. So I learned a lesson from that. And I'll admit, my statement is wrong. It could have gone either way. It's very close. And like 50%, I think about, people think that Sterling won that round. And maybe we'll say 50% think that Jan, because it is that damn close. And like I said, my whole thing with this, I thought Sterling, even with that round, when I looked at it the one way, I thought he won the fight. I thought he fought better. I thought he fought a better fight than Jan. And if you took the fight as a whole, I thought Sterling won. I thought Jan was coming on in the end and Sterling was starting to fade. But, the difference between what he did in that fight, but in the first round of that fight compared to the first round of their first fight, just showed a maturity in him looking at the fight, understanding where he made mistakes, making adjustments. And those adjustments got him the win. So hats off to him. Great win.
I can answer why when he says, I don't understand why people think why is Big John McCarthy the gold standard. Well, the reason why I'm going to say this is because when someone helps write the rules, and not just the rules, but the scoring criteria for this sport and the years of doing it to help it evolve as it's gone on. That's why Aljo, it's not like, that's why he's considered the gold standard in this area. I've sat with you too many times, countless times, where every event, the refs all walk up to you and say, hey, did I score this right? Or did I do this? Or what did you think? Where did I go? The judges will come up and say, hey, what would you have given this much credit for this? That's why. So there's always adjustments being made, you guys, on how to score certain stuff. And John is one of the guys that's helping to kind of lead the way and help these other judges and refs understand what they're seeing, in terms of the damage versus just the jab landing versus the straight right landing, which ones have more power. And like you said, look, I could give two shits who won the fight. I thought Jan won the fight. I base it off of the first round. Okay. But you could have also very well said that Aljo got a 10-8 round when he had the back the whole time.
Absolutely.
There was never really a severe threat of submission there, but he had the back the whole round. So I could see that as well. But for someone like him, someone like a top level fighter, he's the champ. And no one can take it away from you. No matter what I say, no matter what John says, no matter what anybody else says, I don't give a crap who says it. Dude, you're the champ. So I just simply said, look, the round, and I agree with John, the round was so close that I gave it to Jan. But I'm not mad. And I even said that when we did the original show. I'm not mad who won. No, I said it when the fights are this close, I'm not mad who won. I thought AJ beat Patricio. But the rounds were so close, I can't be mad at it. And I have no skin in the game. I'm there to call the fight because I work for Bellator. And I'm there to give my analysis on it and what I think and, and how I think the fight went and this and that. And I'm doing the same thing here on this podcast. I was just a talented fighter. I thought he fought way better this fight. He's a very talented young man. I'm very happy for him. I think he, it's kind of nice. I actually kind of like the fact that he was able to silence some critics over the fact that a lot of people, including myself, like I saw a little bit of it going on tonight, with some of the elbows, a little bit of acting, in that first fight, whatever. But guess what? You shut me up. You proved me wrong. In this fight, you came out and you fought an outstanding fight. Because I still gave it to Jan, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything that I took from the first fight. I literally thought that Jan won the first round, but I also just said I could have given you a 10-8 round. I think it was for the second round you had the back the whole time. So regardless, you're the champ. My man, I tip my hat to you. Congratulate you. All of those things. I hope to see you guys do it again. The trilogy fights are the best. He'll make his adjustments. You'll make some more adjustments and some tweaks, and you'll go on. We're going to probably see part 3 will be a better fight than 1 and 2. So I'm pumped for that. All those things aside, but hey, go to weightinpodcast.com, pick up some of our merch there. We got Hindsight's 50-50, one of the Josh-isms. And the And Still, the Weigh In Podcast And Still shirt is up, #And Still. And, we got our Street Fighter Beast Mode. We've got our Weighing In, original Weighing In retro look logo. And then we've got, obviously, hoodies, long sleeve sweatshirts. Correct? Whatever, man.
Not sweaters.
Not sweaters. All right. Hoodies, long sleeve sweaters, and long sleeve shirts available in all different colors and sizes. So check it all out. Check it out. weightinpodcast.com and pick up some merch, man. Take a picture of yourself sporting it. Text us, tweet us, IG us, tag us, all those things. And we'd love to repost it. Thank you so much for supporting us. And John, take us away, bud.
Hey, for everybody out there watching, thank you for everybody coming up to me and Josh and talking to us about the podcast. We love it. Continue to do so. Thank you for listening, and we will see you.